Hey, it's Lori from Common Sense Home, and welcome to the middle of canning and preserving season in my kitchen. Today we're working on pears, and we're going to can these in quarters and halves in light syrup. And last weekend we picked a bunch of pears from our neighbor's tree, and so they're a mix. They don't spray the tree or treat it in any way, so we've got a mix of different shapes, sizes, and nice lookingness. So you can see, like, this one is a little bit, it's got some dimples in it, a little bit dinged up. We're going to use that one for jam, jelly, wine, gummies, something else. But I'm going through and I'm picking out the ones that are in relatively good condition and have a nice pear-like shape, and those are the ones that we're going to be preserving just as pears. And I've been sorting through my boxes here, and I've got some of the nicer ones sorted out now. And I'm going to give these a rinse, and we are going to peel these and quarter or halve them. You don't necessarily have to peel your pears if your pears are nice looking, your skins are in great condition, but these are pretty motley looking, kind of, you know, like I said, they are from an unsprayed tree and look a little rough, so we're gonna go ahead and peel them, but it's not absolutely necessary. Now behind me, I've got my jars already loaded in the dishwasher. I'm gonna run through the dishwasher to sterilize them. On the stove, I've got my water bath canner, that's preheating. I've prepped in the pot next to that my light syrup, which is 5 1/4 cups water and 2 1/4 cups sugar. And behind that, I have my jar lids, my canning lids, my 2-piece canning lids, the lid and the ring, in warm water. And I like to preheat my lids before I put them on the jars, because it seems like if everything's warm, my seal rates are a little bit better. I always like to prep everything, especially when I'm working with fruit, before we get started prepping the fruit itself, because you want to minimize the time that that fruit is sitting after it's cut and peeled, because that will help prevent browning. Another thing we do to help prevent browning is we'll add a little bit of lemon juice, say a tablespoon or 2 per gallon of water, into the water. We cut the pears, peel them, put them in the water with lemon juice until we're ready to put them in, drain them and put them in the jars, and that will also help prevent browning. That acid helps stabilize the color in your pears. So next up, we're going to get peeling and quartering and turn everything on behind me and get going. All right, we're working on prepping pear quarters, and there's a couple different ways you can approach this. I generally quarter my pears first and then peel them with a paring knife, because I'm pretty comfortable doing with that. So I've worked with paring knives all my life, and it goes pretty fast for me. But Dunk and my husband are peeling the pears first and then quartering. So whichever way you're more comfortable getting the job done is whatever you can use. So I've got that pear quarter, and again, I have a little bit of lemon water, like a teaspoon or 2 in this water, in the plain water, a little bit of lemon juice in the plain water to help keep the quarters from turning brown. And Dunk is taking the pears that his dad peeled and then cutting those into quarters and removing any bad spots.
That's why I'm tasting, to make sure it's good.
That's very important, Dunk. And
Yep, good.
it takes roughly about 2 to 3 pounds of pears per quart. So if you're estimating how many you need to fill your canner, you can use that as a guideline, a rough guideline. It really depends on the pears, because there's a lot of variation in size. If you've got larger pieces, you can put fewer pieces into a specific jar. If you've got smaller pieces, you can pack them a little bit tighter. And we will keep going here until we've got enough to fill the canner. And I think we're probably going to end up with, by the time we go through all the pears, a couple of batches through the canner, but we'll keep going and see where we end up. Back in a bit when we're ready to put the pears in the jars. We have our pears prepped, and I've drained off the lemon water, and I'm going to start lowering these into my hot syrup. And oh, that one's still got a spot on it. I'm going to get these in the hot syrup, get them gently heated through, and get everything nice and toasty warm before it all goes into the jars. You don't want to cook your pears a long time in the syrup, so shouldn't be leaving these simmering for an hour. Just get them heated through. And these little buggers are really slippery because of the high sugar content of the pears. So be careful. This will take a couple minutes here. And then after I've got these loaded in, I will grab the jars out of the dishwasher. And on the back of the stove, I have my small pot with the lids warmed up. And then I've got the canner heating on the other side. So everything is hot and ready to go. We have the pears heated through, and it's time to fill the jars. And you want to bring these up to the 1/2 mark for head space. So I'm going to go ahead and drain off most of the liquid as I'm filling the jars, so I don't have all liquid and no pears. And then I'm going to shuffle these down a little bit. Make sure they're settled in there nice. And sneak a couple more in the top. And then backfill, if I can, with enough of the syrup to cover the pears and end at the 1/2 inch mark. And when you've got it full, you want to go ahead and work a chopstick in there, or they have special little tools too that you can use to remove air bubbles. It's like a little plastic paddle, but a chopstick works just fine. Then we double check the head space, and then Duncan's gonna wipe that off. Go ahead, Dunky. Why don't you keep it over here so we can see a little bit better. And you make sure that's clean. And I'm going to grab a lid off the back here. And then you screw on your lid, finger tight. And this is ready to load in the canner. And we're going to repeat this until we've got all 7 jars filled. Got the canner almost completely loaded, but I don't have the center in. It's a little bit tricky to get the water level just right when you've got quart jars in. So I'm going to lower this in. Try not to soak my mitts too much. And then adjust the jar slightly, make sure everything's upright. And I think I'm going to take just a little bit more off the top before I put that last jar in. Because you want to maintain 1 to 2 inches of water above your jars in the canner. Which, when you do this with quart jars, brings it really close to overflowing the canner. But we are there. I might end up pulling off just a little bit more. Yeah, I think so. All right. Now we turn this up and get the lid on. Bring this back to a full boil, and then we're going to process this for 25 minutes. Our 25-minute processing time is finished, and I turn the heat off and let these rest for 5 minutes, and now they're ready to take out of the canner. If you let them rest after the processing time, that'll give a few minutes for the pressure to equalize inside the jars and reduce siphoning, so you don't have more liquid leaking out. And I'm going to get these all out. You want to have a towel on your countertop to put those on. You never want to set them on a cold counter because you always want to work with similar temperatures or have it an insulated surface. No hot and cold mixed, so you don't end up with busting jars. And you're going to let these rest on the countertop till they are completely cooled. I usually let mine rest overnight into the next day. Let's say a minimum of 12 hours. So check your seals and then remove the rings, wipe down any drips or spills, date, label, and store in a cool, dry location. And for best quality, you want to use these within 18 months. And that's that. Pears and light syrup. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and thank you so much for watching.